This video will show you how to make a line graph using Google Classroom for your Einstein Junior project. Please log in to Google Classroom and you will now see an assignment called Einstein Junior Results Graph of Your Data. This will be due next Friday. You will be creating a graph of your data so that we can see the results. We want to see if there's a change in your prototype data versus your final design. You want to click on your Einstein Junior results, and when you open it, you should see your own document with your first and last name on it. Jeremy has been kind enough to let me use his account to show you this. When you click on your own sheet, as we call it, it opens into what looks like an Excel sheet, but this is called Google Sheets. If you want a little bit of information on it, there is a tour that you can take, but it is very similar to the Excel program. Once you log in and you have your own results, this is where you're going to put in your data. This data is coming from your data table. So when you go into Google Classroom, you can access your data table by clicking back on it and opening the data table up. When you look at the data, you have to decide what you're going to be graphing. Jeremy did the experiment for Blow It Away, designing a car that was powered by the wind that could basically move as many paper clips as possible. His data is here. Now, because Jeremy has two number sets, paper clips and distance traveled, we want to graph how the paper clip amount affected how far the car was able to travel. So this would be a line graph. I recommend writing down your data on a Post-it or a small piece of paper so you don't have to keep moving back and forth between screens. But it is as simply as opening this tab and then switching to the next tab. So I'm going to put in Jeremy's data into the actual sheet. So here I'm going to actually go in and change this from label to what Jeremy's labels are. So he has paperclip as one of his labels, and paper clips don't require a unit because they're paper clips. So I can go ahead and erase that. And then I can go into this label and take off label and add distance. Now there is a label for distance. Jeremy measured in centimeters, so I'm going to put centimeters in parentheses. Now I'm going to take what's in Jeremy's data table here and literally put it right into the cells. Now what's special about this sheet is it cannot take units. Only numbers can be placed in the cell. So I'm going to just place the numbers that Jeremy has based on trial 1, 2, and 3, and then his distance traveled. Again, I'm getting these numbers from his data table. I've just copied down his data so I don't have to keep switching back and forth screens for this video. So now I have, for his prototype, the number of paper clips and the distance the car traveled. I could also include here in his final and put the same paper clips for his final design. Again, notice how I'm not including units here. Excel and Sheets don't know what those units mean, so they can't graph them. And I'm putting in the distance traveled. And with the units in parentheses, I know these are measured in centimeters. Once you have your data entered in to the sheet, it is time to make it into a graph. This is fairly easy. Put your cursor in A1. Holding your cursor, click down to highlight your data. It should appear with a darker blue line. Once it makes this dark blue line, go over to this icon right here called Insert Chart. It has a picture of a bar graph on it. Simply select Insert Chart and it will open up. Now we want to customize this, and we think that a line graph is going to be a better representation of Jeremy's data. So I'm going to click over here into Charts, and I'm going to select Line. You have a couple options of line to choose. I recommend the top choice. This then makes me a copy of his graph, and then I can go in and customize it. So if I click up here to customize, I can add a chart title, and that's something you want to make sure you change. So I'm going to take out chart title, and I'm going to change this to Blow It Away to graph. And I can do things like I can customize the legend, I can move it in a different place if I don't like where it is. I can also change the font. I can change the background so you can get very fancy on these graphs. You can also, and make sure you do this, label your axis. So horizontal is another way of talking about the x-axis. I can give this a title. I can also change it to the left vertical, which is another name for the y-axis. So I might put on the left axis something like in the title, distance, and in parentheses put centimeters. Notice as I move to the next one, it automatically inserts that information to the side. I can also give minimum and maximum boundaries. I recommend just leaving that blank, but there's a lot of other features in here you can play with. When you're done, you're going to click the Insert button. It will automatically insert your graph right into the table. And you now have a graph of your results. Remember, for this project, you need 2 forms of results. So you might consider making 2 graphs. Jeremy might want to make one line graph and one bar graph. One of your results could be a photograph as well, but you have to have at least one graph. For the display board, when you're ready to print, if you click up here in the upper corner, you can go into Save Image, and it will make it nice and big. It'll download it for you automatically and open up a nice graph that you can just go File and then print it out. If you're doing another option, we can talk about that. But that's how you make a graph in Google Sheets.